Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, a consulting hypnotist and a life coach, and welcome to Saturday at 2:30. Every Saturday at 2:30, I do this video podcast here on Facebook Live, later to go onto my YouTube channel on some aspect of coaching or the hypnotic arts and sciences. Today, I want to talk about something near to my heart, the power of music. Now, even though I am a hard of hearing man, runs in my family, and I have to wear two hearing aids. Music is and always has been extremely important to me. I have a large and eclectic music collection. Here in my office, which is ordinarily quite quiet because this is where I do my hypnotism, the office is nonetheless equipped with an extremely sophisticated speaker system that's studio grade. And with the motion of a knob on my desk, I can fill this room with gorgeous music. Most people don't realize that music has been historically quite controversial. Plato, the great Greek philosopher, in his book, The Republic, in fact, book 3 of The Republic. Now, this is where Plato describes his ideal political state. It wouldn't be a nice place to live. I mean, it would really make the People's Republic of China look like the sweet land of liberty. But in it, he said, the music we are exposed to in our youth determines the balance of our souls. And then went on to argue that that should be regulated by the state. Aristotle, another ancient Greek philosopher, said, if one listens to the wrong kind of music, he, forget the sexist pronoun, will become the wrong kind of person. Conversely, if he listens to the right kind of music, he will become the right kind of person. And that's from Aristotle's book, The Politics. But these two ancient philosophers argued that music should be regulated by the state or by the government or by the universities because it has such a powerful formative influence upon the human consciousness. Now, that's not an ancient argument. Professor Alan Bloom of the University of Chicago, in his book, The Closing of the American Mind, observed on the basis of 30 years of teaching that harmonic music, classical music, tends to encourage a feeling of contemplation, ideal for higher thought, whereas rhythmic music, like rock and roll, encourages a kind of personality that is passionate and not well suited to the ivory tower of the academy. And, this is a tradition. I mean, Elvis Presley's music was considered scandalous in his day because it presupposed to encourage young people to be passionate. And, back in 1983, Huey Lewis and the News, in one of their lyrics, the heart of rock and roll is still beating. That's a play on words. The heart of rock and roll is the beat. And I think that's true. That kind of music is strongly rhythmic, and it does have an effect on people. But I would disagree, and for reasons I'll mention in a moment, I would disagree that there's something better about harmonic music than rhythmic music. I think both are useful. There are times when I want to be contemplative, and there are times when I want to be energetic. There are times when I want to be passionate. And music is a tool that we can use to adjust the inner settings on our brain to achieve the state of consciousness that serves us best. Now, I go back a long time with the importance of music. Some of you know I left home and disengaged from my family, and I fell in with a communitarian movement where music was very important. Now, the people who know me well know the name of that organization or that commune. It no longer exists. We all grew up. But it was a very powerful and positive experience for me. The core thing in that community was the belief that music had the capacity to unite people in a way that words and ideas did not have. And I think that's correct. We know now from research that music does stimulate the mind in a variety of ways, and different kinds of music stimulate the mind in different ways. It guides emotions. By experiencing certain kinds of music, you can vicariously experience emotional states that you may have never entertained in the course of your everyday experience. For example, a strong, stirring march makes you feel all patriotic and all, even though that may not be the kind of person you are normally. Whereas a contemplative, Zoring Gregorian chant or the music of Hildegard of Bingen may put you in an ethereal, numinous state, even if that's not your thing most of the time. Music allows a bonding with other people, which is why we often like to listen to music as part of a performance or in a concert, whether it's, rhythmic music, rock and roll, what have you, or classical music. Now, it's kind of interesting that as time has gone on, musicologists observe that music has become increasingly discordant because as the musicians of a time master the canon of their contemporary music, they want to introduce new things, and that has to be new combinations of notes and rhythm, which the hearers are not used to, and so it sounds off to them. But with experience, the hearers learn to recognize that discord, and it becomes something that they appreciate. Years ago, as a hypnotist, I had as a client members of a Gothic band, in fact, literally a Norwegian death metal band. To be able to help them, I had to learn their music. Fortunately, they gave me their entire discography, which I once put in my living room and terrified clients who found it there. The music is extremely discordant. The first time you hear it, it sounds like shouting. But as you work with it, you realize that it's much more sophisticated than you may have thought, and you can discriminate the good from the bad, degrees of good. You can see what's being expressed in the music, but it takes practice and training. In fact, that band was just wonderful to work with. Nice people. The singer of the band was a goth girl, white makeup, black lipstick, black nail polish, and total black clothing. And part of that scene, though, is to kind of offend people. One of the gadgets that hypnotists loathe in sessions is the client's cell phone, which has a habit of going off at exactly the wrong time in the hypnotic experience. And this was no exception. Now, when that happens, it doesn't actually disturb the client because they know what's happening, but it can terrify the hypnotist. So her cell phone went off in the session. And all of a sudden, I heard all of this flatulence over by the client, and I didn't have a clue what was happening. And I had about a bad 15 seconds before I realized that was her ringtone. And when the phone defaulted to voicemail, it was the sound of someone projectile vomiting. I don't even want to know where she got those ringtones. But part of the thing is to offend, and that sort of did it. But that kind of gives you the idea of what that music is like. It's quite off-center, but you can learn to appreciate it. And I did. To this day, I enjoy that kind of music, much to the surprise and horror of some people. Music can be therapeutic. It's been proven that playing music lowers seizures in an epileptic person. Pain reduction. You experience pain less strongly if you're in a musically active environment. If a person is demented, music calms and can even aid recall because it probably triggers associated emotional states. And a study in 2008 showed that stroke patients improve their verbal skills 60% if they're exposed to music as part of their recovery. Now, part of this is that music is involved in the alteration of the brain, neuroplasticity. We're all born with more neurons than we need. By around age 8, a neuron dump occurs where the brain closes down neurons that are not being used. So children who study music learn it more quickly than adults, and children before the age of approximately 8 years old will have a much richer experience of music than those who are exposed to it later in life. So music does unite us in ways that we didn't imagine. It helps out our brain function. It increases our range of experience because we learn to discriminate new things that we would otherwise miss. Music allows us to vicariously experience things that we might not have experienced in our everyday life. And music is healthy. So from the time of my adolescence on, I've appreciated the power of music. I've learned to use it in my hypnotic work, and I use it in my daily life to help kind of control what's happening in my mind to make me more productive and more effective as a person. Hey, thank you for your attention today. I will be back next week with another talk on a different subject. I'm going to be talking about being content versus being happy. I think you might find that of interest. If so, please feel free to tune in. If I can help you, please feel free to reach out to me by email or by website. When I edit this, the website cards will appear. We also have a Patreon channel for those who wish a deeper experience of our work here. Thank you very much. Stay safe.